start a podcast. Simple slogan, called the real talk. Real conversation.
Hi everyone, this is Tarryn. Very excited to have you on the couch. I think the most important part of every episode, I always introduce the person of how I've got to where I am. Sitting with you on the couch. I was at a TEDx event, networking about, when did they have TEDx? I think it was in June, July, yeah. And I was sitting behind this lady named Camilla. And in any networking event, you always got to build up the courage to greet the person. Hi, so this is who I am. And luckily, I had the sweetest lady ever. Camilla turned around. She said, "Hi, I'm Camilla. And I said, "Oh, I'm Princess. I have a podcast and so forth." And she said, "Oh, that's so exciting." She said, "What is the podcast about?" And I always have something called an elevator pitch, which is where you kind of tell the people who you are, but my manager always says, do it in 5 floors. So imagine you're in the elevator and you've got 5 floors, you've got to tell everybody everything. So I told her, I said, "Do you know anyone who's disabled? Do you know anyone who's adopted?" And then funny enough, she turned around and she said, "Oh, I work for Children's Hospital." So I was like, "Oh, okay." And she completely threw me off because I was a bit like, "Okay, now what do you how do you go on with this one?" But anyway, so long story short, she said, "Oh, I would love it if you could come and record. It will have to be during the week and so forth." And I was very excited, to be honest. And it was so lovely. So thank you so much to Camilla for introducing us and allowing us this opportunity. More than anything, my friend Zama's always got a child who's got cerebral palsy, and she speaks in episode 2. And the journey of just being the aunt for Leah is so emotional. But when Camilla gave me this opportunity, she started talking about everything you guys do here. This is the Children's Hospital in KZN. And I'm just excited to hear about everything that you guys do. Can you tell us a little bit about the Children's Hospital? What are the current, projects and what's going on?
Okay, well, thank you very much for this opportunity, and it's lovely to have you here. I think that's also what we're trying to do as a trust, is sort of network a bit more and just create some awareness about the work that we do as a trust, and also just bring awareness within the community of Durban that this children's hospital actually exists, and the work and the services that it offers here at the hospital. So who I represent the KZN Children's Hospital Trust. So we work in a public-private partnership with the KZN Department of Health to renovate and re-establish the hospital precinct. So this used to be the old Adolescent Children's Hospital, and when the decision was taken to renovate and re-establish the precinct, it then became known as the KwaZulu-Natal Children's Hospital. So the hospital's got a long history, so it goes back close on 100 years ago, in the 1920s, when Mary Seedle, she was the Durban City Councillor at the time. She heard the story of a young boy who had trekked with his family all the way from Abel to Addington. He had dysentery, and when he got there, the wards were full and there wasn't a bed available for him. She also lost her oldest son in the First World War, and I think these 2 moments and incidents within her life really motivated her to build a dedicated children's facility here in Durban for the children. So she really rallied the community together. They fundraised towards the building of the hospital. And eventually the hospital was built in 1928 and opened up in 1931. And then it offered services all the way through to 1984. And at that point in time, the government at the time unfortunately shut the hospital down because it was treating children of colour, which in those days this was a predominantly white area.
Oh, okay, I see.
So staff actually marched up and down West Street to protest against the closing of the hospital. But unfortunately, to no avail, and the doors were closed, and that was it.
Wow.
So I think if you are from Durban, you'd be quite familiar with the North Beach part of the section of the beach. And the 2 buildings that are sea-facing buildings that have obviously been standing here for many, many years. And people from Durban will have noticed that over the 28 years, that the buildings just sat there. They just became more and more derelict. The roof caved in, the pigeons moved in, the pavements moved in. And finally in 2009, the provincial KZN cabinet took the decision to renovate the hospital and to re-establish. And that's where we come in as the trust. The decision was taken to create this partnership, and we work together. We eat between the trust and the department. We each have our role to play. And as the trust, we raise all the funds and we project manage the entire renovation. And then once we've finished renovating a building, like the building we have next door, or a facility within the building, for example, you're sitting now in the renovated psychology centre, we then hand it over to the department and it's their responsibility to run the operations. So we each have a role to play.
Okay. And once you're done renovating the whole hospital, what will then be the vision going forward?
Well, we've still got a long road to achieving that vision.
Okay.
It's a 3.5-acre hospital precinct.
Oh wow!
It's got 4 heritage buildings. You're sitting in the original main old children's hospital building, which is one of the 2 sea-facing buildings. The other one next to it was what was called the old nurses' home, as an accommodation facility. And then we've got 2 other heritage buildings which we haven't touched yet, which we haven't renovated at all. The 2 that face the beach, we've renovated the outside, replaced the roof. The nurses' home, we've renovated the ground floor, and this building that we're meeting in now this morning has a psychology centre, and it has a drop-in facility for adolescents, which we call our Centre for Adolescent Health. But if you walk throughout the rest of the building, it's completely untouched, and when you have your little walkabout after this morning, you'll get to see the sort of the difference between the pre-renovation, and after renovation, and what is possible through the renovation.
That sounds exciting though, I'm not gonna lie. It's, as a project manager perspective, it's such an exciting way. I can imagine when you see it done versus the before. I've just been through your website and I've seen a lot of before and afters, including the very front, where you kind of see as you come in, you guys have done an amazing job.
From an architectural point of view, artworks, ceramic works, there's a lot of history here. And because it is a heritage precinct, MARFA, which is the Provincial Heritage Authority, has to get involved. So any artworks, any sculptures that you do see, everything has to be preserved as part of the renovation. So it's an incredible process to watch and be a part of, especially when you just see something completely derelict, and over the course of a 12-month renovation, you see the end result, and it's a real privilege to sort of be part of that process, but then also part of the process where you see the whole new facility come alive when staff move in and the patients start arriving, and you just start to see the difference that the hospital is making within the community.
Wow. I mean, if we'll cut it out if we don't need to. But I know Lisa was saying earlier, you guys get almost 80 to 100 walk-ins a day at the moment, at the bottom, which is from different, obviously, avenues. How's that going so far?
Yeah, so that facility is a drop-in facility. It's an adolescent and youth-friendly service that is provided there. It supports a lot of the inner city young people. A lot of students live within the inner city precinct. They arrive for sexual reproductive health support, HIV screening and testing, and various common adolescent medical conditions. So the facility is staffed by obviously a team of staff from the Department of Health. It's open from a Monday to Friday from 7 to 4, and they are seeing between 80 and 100 adolescents every single day.
Oh,
yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And then so with what you're saying is that you work with the trust part of it.
That's right. Yeah.
So when it comes to the stuff that happens downstairs, you guys don't really get involved. You're more involved in the scene of the building.
Yeah, that's correct. Sometimes it depends. Obviously, as a project and as a trust, and to make our project move forward, we are reliant on donations.
Yes.
So that's why we can, as soon as we have funding in, we can renovate a facility, or maybe we have enough to renovate a whole building. So we have obviously a relationship with each of our donors, and sometimes each of those donations or grants that we get have certain conditions. So normally we will renovate, we'll furnish and equip, we'll hand it over to the department, but the adolescent centre worked a little bit differently. That was part funded by the Elton John AIDS Foundation, the adolescent facility, and that grant worked a little bit differently in that for a period of 6 months as a trust we had to employ a team of staff who then worked to set up and commission the facility. They worked alongside a team from Department of Health for 6 months, and once that 6-month period was up and operations were fully underway, our team pulled out, and then Department of Health continued with the operation. So sometimes we are involved sort of beyond just the bricks and the renovations, which was a really interesting journey to be on, you know, as opposed to just having to be involved in the renovation side and the fundraising side.
Sure, that's lovely. Can you tell me a little bit about the mother's wing that you guys are developing at the moment, or will be developed?
Yeah, so the nurses' home, the old nurses' home building, which is one of the other sea-facing buildings, we've renovated the ground floor of that building, and that's what they're calling a mother's lodge. So right now it has 12 or 13 double rooms. So that facility is going to support the Neurodevelopmental Assessment Centre. So that really sort of takes us back right to the beginning of the project, where the department took the decision, we're going to renovate, but you know, what services are we going to offer? So they did a complete needs assessment of child health services in KZN, and they identified 2 gaps. One was treating children with neurodevelopmental disorders, so cerebral palsy, autism, and the other was mental health. So our very first phase of renovations focused on the neurodevelopmental side, and that outpatient facility opened up in July 2013. So the Neurodevelopmental Assessment Centre was our very first fully functioning facility here within the precinct, and has obviously been running now for 11 years and has had, I think, well over 45,000 patient visits amongst the entire multidisciplinary team over that time.
Sure.
Yeah. So it is an incredible facility. When you just observe, you know, the work that takes place, you get to interact with the staff as a trust, and you also get to interact with some of the parents, including Winnie, who works for the trust.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's also got a relationship with the Neuro Centre through her daughter Azzy. It is an incredible facility. Unlike the Adolescent Centre, which is a drop-in facility, the Neuro Centre is actually a referral hospital. So all children will be referred
to you guys.
to the hospital, to the Neuro Centre, or for example, our future mental health facility. So Adolescent Centre functions just a little differently in that it's a drop-in facility, but otherwise this is a provincial hospital, it is a government hospital, and it is a referral hospital. So all children who are being seen at the Neuro Centre will be referred from their base hospital to the facility here. So they have access to a whole team of professionals, 2 pediatric neurologists. That's always the first port of call, is being assessed by the pediatric neurologist, and then they have access to an entire multidisciplinary team of staff. The occupational therapy team, physiotherapy, speech therapy, audiology, dietitian, social workers, and clinical and educational psychologists. So it's a really comprehensive and holistic service that doesn't just focus on the child, but on the parent and the family as well. Yeah,
that's amazing.
So,
I wanted to hear my questions.
Oh, you were asking me about the Mother's Lodge. So that's where the Mother's Lodge comes in.
And it also like 20 of my questions in one go. No, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I always want.
It'll find its way.
Yes, that continuous. One of the things, when somebody arrives and they are referred to site, what are the first things that you look at in the mother maybe, or in the child specifically, to understand where they're going to fit into the program?
Well, that's where the pediatric neurologist comes in, and that's the first sort of point, is that the child will be seen and assessed by the pediatric neurologist, who will then decide the child's pathway within the facility and who they will need to be seen by.
Okay, sure, that's just so exciting. I did see that you guys were on, I think, East Coast Radio doing an interview there. And you've done quite a couple of public with Hollywood Bets, for example, a couple of things. What at the moment would you hope either the community of KZN, Durban, just surrounding us, what assistance would you need, or what do you hope to achieve even with this, for example?
Well, I think number one, it's awareness and making the community aware that this hospital is here.
Yeah.
Number two, making the community aware of the services that are offered. That, for example, if you do have a child with autism or cerebral palsy, there is a government facility that's available and there for you. So definitely awareness. And then obviously, given that we are reliant on donations, it's obviously, trying to promote the project and bring the community back into the story of the hospital again by requesting donations and financial support, whether it be as an individual or you're working for a corporate who has a corporate social responsibility program and needs to give. So we always accept with open arms because it does help us to move our project forward.
This episode will be dropping on Christmas Day.
Oh wow!
I didn't tell you guys, but
Yes.
I was hoping that everyone at home would understand. We appreciate everyone's got their families and they're always surrounded by the best.
Yeah.
During Christmas, but during the season, I want everybody to remember the families that are going through a lot more different things than we are, for example. So a very good moment now would be to share someone's story where she said she was waiting for a child to come out of surgery and she had to go back to work, and she had been, and the doctors had said it would take 2 hours, it took 4 hours. And it's moments like that that make me realize I get very invested in NPOs. I really enjoy doing the outreach programs and so forth. Do you guys have anything special planned for Christmas, or do you guys have any NPOs that come through and donate or send any vacations?
It's always a time of year where people want to give back. So we also, as a trust, have a series of partnerships in place. So we have a 5-year partnership with Discovery Health KZN.
Oh, okay.
And over the calendar year, they have a series of events and initiatives that they run with. And I think it's the last 2 or 3 Christmases, they've always supported the Christmas party for the children. So yes, that's happening on the 12th of December here at the Neuro Centre. So their staff always come together, they give very generously. Father Christmas is always on hand to hand out gifts. Sometimes their staff contribute and put together food parcels for the families. So yes, so that's where our contribution comes at Christmas time, is from one of our partners, Discovery Health.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's always a very exciting time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's lovely, and the kids and the children always.
Absolutely,
Yeah, the
and
kids
there's
love it.
such joy.
Yeah,
Kids
it's
are
lovely
such
to
joy.
see. Yeah, and people love to give back, and they also like to see where their contributions are going. So the whole team of Discovery, well, not the whole team, I think they have the team that's involved in the Christmas initiative will always come through to the hospital as well and be part of the handout of all the gifts to the children.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds so amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of all the work that you guys are doing here. It's so beautiful. Like you say, from 2009 till today, I can imagine what you guys have been going through. So I hope the KZN community and Durban community heard you, and they'll be aware. We'll show them the outside and so forth. Coming in, I'm very excited to harbor this relationship further. Maybe we can get like millions of views. I'll come back again and do another one.
No, you're welcome to come back anytime. I mean, we have various initiatives throughout the year, and if there's a way to bring you in, even on a Mandela Day, for example, we always have activities. It's an annual event that we have here.
And you're open to other, obviously, like you say, you have Discovery, but you are open to other companies.
Yeah,
and
partnerships. Yes,
to come through.
Absolutely. Even on Mandela Day, there are opportunities for corporates to come and volunteer their time. So Canway, they do the Oh So Heavenly body products in Clicks. Yes, so they're one of our new partners. They support, for example, the Mother's Lodge. Parents are arriving, they support with products. So a whole team of 67 of their staff came on Mandela Day, and you'll see on the just near some of the unrenovated buildings, they painted some wall murals days. So they are, and you'll see quite a few weeds out there as well. So we're always looking for some gardening services.
Somebody to help.
To come with their garden fork and do some gardening and weeding as well.
So excited.
Yeah, so we're a very mix between renovated sections and areas that are still quite derelict.
Desperately need the help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Tarryn. Please, I need to let you go now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you for allowing us into your space. I know work is like home as well. You know, you keep it very close to your heart. And I can see the passion in you. And I can see the passion that you have for everything. I really hope that it goes well. Can't say pray. I really hope it goes well. And I can't wait to see where everything's going to be, even within the next year. And just see the development, you know. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for your time and the questions and this opportunity. That's fantastic. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Start a podcast. Simple slogan. Called the real talk. Real conversation.